Hi crafters, welcome back to another segment of KISS, Keep It Simple Sylvia. Today we're going to be working with Eileen Tacky Glue. I started using this glue probably over 25 years ago when I saw Eileen on the Carol Duvall show, and she talked about her glue and all the marvelous things that it could do. And one of the things that she showed was how to do make paper bag look like metal, and I thought it was one of the most incredible things I'd ever seen. Today that technique has progressed somewhat, but the way I first learned it was taking a paper bag and making about 5 or 6 layers. And what I've done is I've just cut up a paper bag here and glue these all together, and then you make something out of it. And today we're actually I'm going to show you how to make a key. But then I'm going to show you a couple different ways to actually do it now. But what you do is you just take the paper bag and you need to get some glue, and you just start gluing the layers together. Now I'm working on a craft sheet here, and I have my handy dandy spreader. It's one of those cryptic credit cards that you get in the mail, you know, because they want your business. So I'm just going to use that as a spreader, and I'm going to spread a thin line of the glue on this brown paper. And then I'm going to put another piece of brown paper on top of it. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to keep creating layers of brown paper with the glue. And as I need more glue, I will put more glue down. I think the reason for this, that we originally learned it this way, was so that we could build some thickness. Back then we didn't have a whole lot of things that we have available to us today. Namely, one of the things is chipboard. You know, it was around, but it wasn't real prevalent like it is today. And we also had cardboard. You could do this with cardboard too, but this is how she taught it. And apparently the reason how she discovered this technique was she was checking the flammability of her tacky glue, and she was just really impressed on how this actually came out. So like I said, I'm just putting some layers down here. This stuff is really sticky too. Not as sticky as the tack it over and over, but it's pretty darn sticky. And you just keep building up your layers, and at that time we did about 5 to 7 layers, just something to give it a little dimension, make it a little stiffer than just actually one paper bag. So you just glued them all together, and then you didn't really have to wait for it to dry if you didn't want to. And what you ended up doing was, let me finish this. Okay, now I've got my last layer, and on my last layer I drew a key. I have this key here that I just used as a you know, something to trace, and I traced it onto the paper bag here. And then when it's all glued together, I'm going to cut it out, and I'm going to cut it out before I actually start the burning process. So with that in mind, it's probably going to be best that I set this aside and let it dry. And I'll be right back. While that's still drying, I'm going to show you how we can use cardboard. This is just regular old cardboard, and you can see I drew the key on it again, and I'm just going to cut it out. You can use this on so many different mediums, and I'm going to talk about that in a bit. It's just, I just love it. When we first did it, when she first showed about it, we actually were making it more verty looking than as opposed to, you know, it looked more like rusted iron or something, or copper. Now you can make it look like actual metal, steel, whatever. And what we did is we just used paints to achieve that look. But today, you actually have micas that you can use, and you have leafing that you can apply, all sorts of different things. And you can see I don't care what the top really looks like. If it's really round or not, I can fix that. Okay, well, here we go. We got our key, and we're just going to coat it with the tacky glue and put a nice thick coating down on it. And you want to make sure you coat both sides. So you're going to have to get your fingers sticky. You want to make sure that it's nice and thick. That's what gives it the dimension that you need for this, is the thickness of the glue. Because what's going to happen when we heat it with the flame, it's going to start buckling up, and it's going to get bubbles in it, and it's going to crackle, and it's going to do all sorts of neat things. So, and you need a thick coating in order for that to happen. And when you're using cardboard, you just want to make sure you get the sides coated well too, because you don't want to leave anything open that's going to burn. It'll be flammable at all. And just get this coated up real good. You could use a paintbrush to put this on if you want it to. There's just something about getting all crafty to me, getting all inky or getting all full of paint or whatever. I guess it goes back to the childhood and using all of the, you know, kids love to play in paints and glues and stuff. Make sure it's coated up real good. I'm trying to get it on the sides too, so I don't burn. Okay, and one of the nice things too about this tacky glue is that you can clean up by water, which I just think is wonderful. I just have a paper towel that's wet, and I'll just clean it up by that. Okay, and then you need a candle. And obviously, if you're working, you know, with flame, you need to be careful around kids and animals and other paper products and stuff like that. Okay, so while this is still wet, I'm going, ooh, you can't even see that. Wow. Cut down some of the light source here. Okay, got a flame going. Can't even see that. Oh well. And what I'm doing is I'm putting the glue into the flame, and it's smoking, and what we want it to do is we want it to start charring the glue like this. So I'm going to zoom this in. And it just gets all bubbly and everything. It's pretty cool. It doesn't take long to burn it. It's better if you do it like I was originally doing it, straight up and down like this, than try to do it on the side, because you're getting more coverage by doing it this way. You just want to make sure that it's nice and charred and black. All of it is. You're not seeing any of the white glue through it. And one of the nice thing about this technique too is if you're working on a project and you make this out of brown paper bag or cardboard like this, you don't have the weight. You don't have the weight of metal. So if weight's important to you, then this is a good way to do it. One of the nice things about the paper bag is, I like to scrunch it up before I actually do anything with it, because then that puts a texture in it. But while this is still hot, while you're doing this, you can kind of scrunch it together a little bit too. You just have to be careful because it is hot. It's hot glue. And you can see that it's, it's not flammable. The glue is not flammable at all. We're just getting a nice char on it. Okay, and then while it's still hot, you can touch it and try to put some texture in it if you want to. Smush the glue together, pinch it, whatever. Okay, and then what you need to do is you want to wipe it back up again. You want to get some of that soot off of it just by using a paper towel is fine. And just kind of burnish it and get some of that soot off. And it's really has kind of like a neat sheen to it. Yeah, you can actually see that on camera here. Got this neat little sheen to it. And then you can leave it like that if that's the look that you want, a nice look to it. Or you can just take some acrylic paint and do what's called like a dry brush on it. And all I'm going to do is just put a dab on my craft sheet here. And I'm just going to take my finger. I'm just going to dry brush with my finger over on top of it to kind of give it like that verty look. And then also, if you don't like that look, you've got copper and gold paints. Mine might be dried up, but I'm going to give them a try. See what I can dig out of here. Okay, I got still some in there. I'm just going to use a brush to brush over on top of it. And maybe my finger. Yeah, the finger's working good. And it's just hitting those high spots from when I crinkled the glue together. And see, there you've got a very, very lightweight, looks like metal, looks like it's been antiqued. I love the verty look. Mix it with the copper. Give it some copper highlights. And there you go. We've got a faux metal key. Isn't that cool? Okay, back. The brown paper bag is semi-dry, which is okay for this. And you can see I already cut it out. Don't throw this away. You can cut this into different shapes. You can cut it into tags, or you can always use this leftover stuff, even if you just use it for miscellaneous type random geometric shapes. So I'm just going to set that aside. I'm going to load this brown paper bag one up with glue. And before I do that, I'll get the candle going again. I'll put that off to the side because the light of the candle really wreaks havoc with that, with the camera. So I'm just spreading the glue. Trying to get this evenly coated. Make sure I get it on both sides. The Eileen's tacky glue comes in tubs too. You don't have to get it in a squeeze bottle. Okay, I got this coated. And we're just going to run this through. And obviously the more paper bags you put together, the thicker it's going to be. I'm just going to kind of do this off on the side so we don't mess with the camera too badly. And I'm just running it through the flame. It's really cool to watch it bubble up and everything. I love how, you know, when you test certain things, when you try to see what's going on with like the properties of this, and then you discover a whole new technique. I always thought that was such a cool story. Because most glue is flammable. And then she discovered a technique that just makes it look like faux metal. And when you do the burning, you want to make sure that you get it all burned, because then it won't be sticky anymore either. You're supposed to keep it a little, you know, like at the tip of the flame, but you can see I'm just dragging it through. I forget what she first showed us that she made. Okay, dry that off a little bit. You just want to clean the soot off of that. And then we have another key. Now obviously this isn't as thick as the one that we just did, because it's just made out of layers of paper bags. But sometimes you might, oh, it was still sticky, so I pulled it off. And another cool way to use it, which I really, really like, is using it on canvas. I just have these tiny little artist squares here. You want to make sure you coat your canvas really, really good. I'm just dropping some glue down. And if you leave it kind of in a chunky mess, you know, with dimension to it, you're going to get a cool look on your canvas. And then you can always paint over it with micas would be cool to paint on it, or perfect pearls, or any kind of metallic looking paint over on top of it would be kind of cool. Or, you know, just regular acrylic. And then you have this faux metal background look to it. Looks like you actually did something on metal. Okay, we got that on our canvas. And I'll get the flame going again. I'll just hold it upside down in the flame. Get this burned. I just love doing this with canvas because it's just so neat looking. And then burnishing it with micas and stuff. Oh my gosh, it looks so great. Look how that's coming up. Isn't that beautiful? Okay, crafters, that canvas dried, and then I brushed the soot off of it, and let's just look at that wonderful texture in that. Now you can use this however you would want to use the canvas, and you can paint over on top of it. You could do the rub like what we did on the key to make it look like more faux metal, whatever you want it to do with it. I just love the canvas because you can, if you can't really tell very good, but you can actually see some of the canvas texture through the paint here. I just love the way that looks. And then another thing that you can use is not everybody, but a lot of people have chipboard pieces if they're into scrapbooking or card making or whatever. And you can use these chipboard pieces to do exactly the same thing. You just paint them up with the glue. This gives a great dimension to chipboard. I love how it looks like metal. I took a Tim Holtz class one time and he was going to show us how to do faux metal. And I could have sworn this was the technique he was going to show us, but it wasn't. He showed us one of his own original techniques, which was pretty cool. But this is the only technique I had ever known. And I thought, wow, there's other ways to do this. But I've been doing this for years. I love using my chipboard pieces for this. The chipboard comes in so many different shapes. But if you haven't got chipboard, you've always got cardboard. I use old pizza boxes. Okay, so you can see that's all sooted up there, and I'm just going to set it aside and let it make sure that the glue's dry on it. I don't want to rub any of it back off. And then another thing that I did, just to show you another canvas, is I took another canvas, just one of those little mini artist canvas, and I put some cardboard. I cut some cardboard pieces on it, and these were the holes that were punched out from the chipboard that we just did, and I stuck them on that. And now I'm going to cover it up with the glue. You just want to make sure that you get it on there real good. I'm going to have to paint this on. And that's, like I said, the nice thing about the glue is that it is water soluble. So, but I still wouldn't use a real good paintbrush on it. Or just use your finger to smear it around real good. But I want to make sure I get in. This is that paintbrush that I use for the rubber cement. I told you it's a mess. You just want to make sure that you get the sides of the cardboard covered real good, because you know that is flammable. So get this coated up real good with the glue. When you put things on your canvas like this, you just kind of want to make sure that they dry before you start putting the rest of the tacky glue on top. Just for the simple fact that you'd start sliding these things around if you didn't. Get this all gooped up real good. And make sure you get the sides. And this, I mean, aside from the dimension that the glue offers, oh my gosh, there's so many possibilities with this. It's amazing when you use little canvases like this and then put other things on it like the cardboard, because then you can come back and you can, when it's all sooted up and everything, when you do like micas on it in the different areas, oh my gosh, it looks so gorgeous. And I'm not an artist. I've said that before. I'm a crafter. And so, I mean, I'm not good at drawing or painting or anything, but I sure like to create this kind of stuff. Okay, I'm going to run this through the flame. And we'll be back when it's done. Okay, crafters, everything's dry, and I'm just going to rub the soot off. And like I said, you just do it lightly. Just use a soft napkin. And all you want to do is just get the soot off. You don't want to really rub the glue off. You could use like a wet like a baby towel, baby wipe, or a wet paper towel or something. But I actually found that that cleans it too good. I actually like the more of a the burnished look to it. So I just use it, I just do it dry and just ever so lightly. The texture in this is just incredible. I just love the way this looks. So we're gonna embellish this with a little acrylic paint. Just do a dry. I'm gonna use a silver. It might be dried up, but no, I got some. And once again, I'm just going to use my finger to put on it, just so I hit the high spots. I don't want to hit the whole thing. I just want to do some of the high spots. Isn't that beautiful? Look how pretty that is. And boy, would that look nice on a... Here's a journal I'm doing. You know, put that on the journal. Put a picture behind it. Wouldn't that be pretty? And then here's the one that I put all of the cardboard on. So we're just going to gently rub this off. This might even be too harsh for it. This napkin that I'm using. Rub this off. You can see I'm using my finger too. Get that soot off. This is so cool. I just love the textures in this when you use other things. You know, chipboard, you could cut chipboard apart. I mean, just make random things out of cardboard like we did on this. And you can see the dimension in this already, how beautiful this is. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over this with some of my acrylic paint. I'll do the copper again. Try and hit some of the high spots. I'm going to add a little water to this paint because it's real thick. Just hitting some of the high spots on this. Love the textures on this. Look at that, isn't that pretty? And if I wanted to, I could come in here and I could fill in with maybe some birdie or something. Might look pretty on that. But I'm just, you know, showing you how beautiful. It looks like metal, and I just am astounded by how neat it is and how easy it is to do. So I hope you like the segment on Eileen's tacky glue, and one of the ways that you can use it is to make yourself faux metal. So we just did a little artist canvas. This is the key that we made out of cardboard. Boy, it's got some, that looks so beautiful. Look at the texture on that. This is the key that we made out of, I'm going to put some stuff on it. Brown paper bag, so you can see the texture on this. And once again, because this is a paper bag, this is so lightweight. Oh my gosh, this would be incredible on a card. And it looks like a metal piece of metal, but it's not. And it doesn't add any weight at all to a card. And then we did this cute little picture frame. It sure looks like antique silver there. And then this is just the plain artist canvas with just the glue on it. Didn't do anything to embellish it in any way. Just a blank canvas to do something with. And then here, put the cardboard on it and burnished it. We actually have a little piece of art here. Well, thank you so much for joining me in this segment of KISS, Keep It Simple Sylvia, and I'll see you again next week. Bye for now, crafters. Bye.